Hi guys, when we meet somebody who we perceive as being successful, it's easy to kind of look at it live and think to yourself, wow, look at this guy or look at this girl, life is amazing for them. They've got a great career, they've got a great business, life is just going so well. And we look at them and take a snapshot of their lives and we kind of wish our lives potentially looked in the way their lives looked. But what a lot of people don't think about is like, where has this person come from? Like, what has been their journey in order to get to where they are in their current lives, okay? I made a video recently about 10 high-paying jobs for 6 figures, and I kind of thought that was a bit of a funny video because I just enjoy talking about jobs that could potentially help people make 6 figures, okay? And whilst most people loved that video and found it really funny, I had a couple of people who thought, well, actually, wow, look at your life, Ken. You're making 6 figures. In fact, one guy said to me, you make 6 figures just from your day job alone. I wonder how much you made from all your other things that you get up to, okay? And I thought that was really interesting because, and I can kind of see where they're coming from, but I thought I'd use this video to go way back. Let's kind of take a step back and look at what my life actually looked like before I kind of got to where I am today, which you might perceive as successful, or some people might perceive as successful, without actually having the full background. Okay, I want to take a step back and look at some of my wildest, craziest jobs and what I've learned in that process. These are some of the worst possible jobs in my personal opinion, but they are jobs I've had to do in order to kind of get to where I am today. And I'm sharing this information today because I know without a doubt there are people who watch this channel who are currently doing jobs that are totally like just rubbish, right? And they just feel like, oh my God, I'm not moving along in my career. I've got no hope in life or whatever. And they feel completely stagnant. And I know what that feels like, okay? So I'm going to share with you like the realities of kind of where I've come from. I'm going to really explain each job, but not just explain the job, but explain what life lesson I've learned from that job on reflection. Because when you're in a valley, you don't tend to see where you are as an inspiring place. But in reflection, because dots always connect backwards, when you look back and think about your life and kind of where you've come from, things start to connect and start to make some sense. Okay, so I hope today's video will give you some reality and inspire you to believe that your future is bright and there are really some exciting things that you can look forward to in your future. My name's Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is give you the tips, the insight, the practical hacks to help you work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. It's entirely possible for you to create the life that works for you. This is what this channel is all about, okay? So let's dive in and start to look at, some of these life lessons I've learned on my journey, some of my wildest jobs, from going from a low-income person to a high-income person. I hope that this transformation is something you can experience in your own life as well in some day if it's something you really desire. Okay, so job number 1 is that I used to work as a factory floor sweeper, okay? So when I immigrated to the UK, I was 14 years old. And around the age of 15, not even up to a year since I moved to the country, I basically started to get, in effect, bullied in a way because I spoke with a really strong accent. I just didn't have anything on my side, okay? I was desperate. And I mean, talk about desperation for money, right? I just needed something. And everybody just looked so cool. All the boys and girls looked really cool. And I just wanted some friends, if I'm being honest. I just wanted like some of the guys to kind of ask me to come and hang out with them and maybe to get some attention from the girls, but none of that was happening. In fact, nobody noticed me in any way, shape or form. And this was a real problem for me because as a teenager, you kind of want to have some friends, but I had nobody. And this is a really lonely life. And I talk about it smiling and laughing now, but when I think about it, in fact, when I thought about it this afternoon, I almost started crying because I was thinking about, in fact, actually, hang on. I'm just getting really emotional thinking about it. Okay, right, compose yourself. Anyway, so I really needed some money, really desperately. And And I remember at that time I thought to myself, if I can't speak to people, because I think I was being picked on because of the way I spoke, if I can't speak to people, maybe what I should do is focus on working on my looks. So I thought a really good thing to do was to maybe buy myself some trainers. But the problem I had was that the pair of trainers I wanted, or that I saw in the shops, was £40. Okay, I did not have anything near £40, and my parents at the time were only giving us £1 a day. That £1 a day was meant for our lunch. You know, you'd have to use that if you can, buy what you can with that £1. And I thought to myself, how on earth am I going to buy these pair of trainers? For me, if I could buy those trainers, I always saw that those trainers as the thing that will get me noticed. If I could buy those trainers, then the girls will notice me, and then the guys will notice and kind of hang out with me, and like life, that will be it. Like life will begin, right? For me, those trainers basically represented a way out. I always saw it as, this is the thing I needed to get. But the problem I had was they were £40. So what did I do? How did I solve this problem? I went out there looking, because at that time I couldn't get a job as well. I had so many restrictions, like you wouldn't believe, like many people who immigrate to new countries, or even emigrate to new countries. And so I went out there and I found an ad somewhere that said something like, come and get this job. I didn't care what the job was. Your job is to sweep the floor in a big factory. It's like a printing factory. And I showed up in East London, and the guy said to me, like, you look younger than 21. And I said, yeah, people kind of say I've got a bit of a baby face. And the guy just, you know, I didn't say too much, but the guy just said, okay, whatever, like come in and sweep the floor. And I went in and I took that job. And for 1 week, I spent all that time sweeping, picking papers, doing all kinds of things, just to make that one paycheck, right? And after 1 week, I got called into a room and handed my brown envelope. Because of course, cash in hand, okay? Got handed that envelope, and in it was £80. And there you have it, guys. I had my money to buy myself those trainers. On that day, I quit my job, of course, because I had what I wanted to be able to buy my trainers. And of course, what happens? I went out there and I bought the brightest ever Reebok Classics. Bright neon blue color. And I thought, yes, buy the brightest one, because then the girls will notice and the guys will notice, and like life would begin. And of course, what happens? No girls noticed. Some guys kind of took notice and thought, oh, like this guy, this young African guy is starting to look a little bit like a bit cool. I laugh about it now, but believe me, when I reflect on this journey, right, honestly, I'm being as candid as I can. It just blows my mind, right? Because like when I think back to that stage of my life, could I ever have foreseen where I am today? The answer is no, of course not. So the life lesson, and this is the life lesson, if you are going through crap in your life, I'm going to come close to the camera to make this clear, right? If you're going through crap in your life right now, do not live in it. Because if you remain in it, nothing changes. You've got to take a leap. You've got to do absolutely anything, no matter what it takes, to change those circumstances. It might require you getting very uncomfortable and doing things that you absolutely hate doing, like I did. Sweeping the factory for a whole week. But at least it got me out of that circumstance and it solved my problem. And that's really helped me in my life journey today, because it's helped me realize that whenever I'm going through some difficulty, a real life challenge, there is always a way out. When I remember that story of me wanting those trainers and I saw that as my way out of my current circumstances of being picked on and what have you, I remember that and I think of my life and think, yes, there is a way out, and I can find a way out of my current circumstances. That's difficult. Okay, so job number 2 is that I worked as an animal technician. So to give you a bit of timeline, this is around when I was the age of about 18, okay? You're probably thinking to yourself, Ken, like, animal technician, what on earth are you talking about? Well, I had the same question as you. Like what? What is this job? So, my dad had a friend or a colleague or something who told him, look, there's a summer job coming up and, we need an intern, like a summer person. And the job of an animal technician basically meant that I went from Southeast London every day from 5 a.m. in the morning and travelled, bear in mind I was about 17, 18, travelled across London to Northwest London, right at the end of the line, to go to this place. And my job, get this, right? I'd show up, I'd put all these scientific kit on, all these like buddy things, because I had to go into a really enclosed area, okay? And guess what I was coming into when I walked into that area? This will blow your mind. I was coming to a room full of mice. Yes. So imagine you walk into a room, there are lots and lots of cages stacked up. And in those cages, in each cage were about 40 different mice. And there were stacks of them. Now, what's my job? My job as the animal technician is to come in, take a cage, pick every mouse out of the cage, so about 40 of them in each cage, put them and transfer them into a different box, then clean out all the gunk from all the mice into the bin, and then pick every mouse again and put it back into the box, and then close the lid, and then put it back. That was the day job. Now think about that. If you currently have a job right now, I challenge you to tell me if your job is worse than what I've just described to you. Just imagine, sometimes I'd be cleaning those cages out, a mouse would jump out, and I'd have to run around the room to pick the mouse up and put it back in the cage. Bear in mind, I don't really like mice very much, right? So you think about that, right? But guess what it was about this job? The thing that really stood out about this job is that it was well paid. I was getting £1,000 per month as a 17 to 18-year-old. And I never ever forget getting my first paycheck, and I disappeared off. First thing I did was I bought my parents a sofa because we just needed a sofa, and I cannot forget spending £400, bought my parents a sofa, and I just felt so proud I'd done something for my parents. And then I went off to Camden Town and I wanted one of those biker jackets. And before I knew it, all my money was gone, okay? Now, what's the life lesson from here? The life lesson on reflection is that if you are ever in a place of abundance in your life, you've got some money, you've got things going really well, take some of that abundance and sow into your future when you will expect a time of famine, because it will come inevitably, okay? What I should have been doing is doing exactly what I know now. But of course, at that age, I did not have the perspective that I've got on money and life today. Okay, so job number 3 is that I worked as a sandwich maker at a large department store in London, okay? So this is one of those jobs, and I've had some crazy jobs, right? So I show up, right, as, of course, I blag my way into the job because I'm like, yeah, I can make sandwiches. I can make anything you want to make. So long as you're paying me, I'll take the job. So I show up at this place, and it's a really posh departmental store. Like, give you a clue, it's in Knightsbridge. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, right? Show up, and they've got a sandwich bar. And I'm like, my job is to make really posh sandwiches with things that I'd never even had, like ingredients I'd never even heard of before. But I had to kind of follow them in a systematic way and arrange them because these rich people who were shopping were going to be buying these sandwiches. And I remember looking at the price, the big kind of menu, and thinking, wait, what? That sandwich is £15, right? £12, £15, £16 for a sandwich. And what was interesting, when I think about it now, many people kept queuing up to buy the sandwich. And I'm thinking, seriously? People are paying £16 for a sandwich. And I think about that, it's just so fascinating, because the life lesson, when I reflect upon it right now, is that value is in the eye of the beholder. Okay? People, and this is a business point, people will be willing to pay you whatever price you put on a product or service, because what you offer, provided it meets them at their point of need and delivers value to them, they will pay you for it. Okay, job number 4 is that I worked as a waiter. Okay, waiter, right? So this is what I love my parents. So my mum basically blagged her way into getting herself a contract with a 5-star hotel in London. Okay, the contract was, you are meant to deliver waiters and waitresses to come and help the kitchen service. Okay, so she basically called them and said, I run a business and like I can supply waiters, waitresses, and they've just gone, oh, okay, you know, how about you send some people tonight? We're desperate, we need some people, right? So my mum calls us, and I never forget this. She comes into the living room, she's like, right, you, she's like, to me, she said to me and my sisters, like she says to us, I've got you a job, right? You're going out there, you're gonna be waiters tonight, right? You're going to a restaurant, a really posh hotel in London. And this hotel is in Mayfair, by the way. At this stage of my life, I'd never stepped into a 5-star hotel. So for me, I'm thinking, waitering, like, I don't know how it works, but I'm just gonna go and learn and figure it out. But the thing was, what I was more excited about was getting my foot in a 5-star hotel. I was thinking like, this is gonna be amazing. And I never forget rocking up with my sisters, coming through the back of the hotel, going into the kitchen. And the guys were just like, oh yeah, come in. You must be the new waiters and waitresses. Me and my sisters looking at each other thinking, yeah, we are. And kind of wheeled us along. And then they gave us like a 10 minutes of kind of training, like how to hold a spoon and fork, how you hold a spoon and a fork so you can serve bread on it. And you take the stuff and you carry it, and you have to go around, I think from the right, if I remember, I go around from the right to collect people's, serve people bread, all of that within 10 minutes. And then they're like, go, serve. And we joined all these other people to go and serve food. Now think about that, right? I was in this environment and I'm looking around. I've never seen so many posh people in my life. And I'm walking in thinking, whoa, I wonder if they're gonna find us out. Do they know that we've just come here? Like, we've never done this job before, but we are completely just blagging it to see how we get on. That night when I was serving, and I'll never forget, these guys who were sitting around the table were looking at me because my hands were literally shaking trying to serve the bread, and they just said something that just... Sorry, they just said something that really just... Oh, man. Oh, hang on. Right. They said something that really just calmed me down. They just said, it's okay. and I've never forgotten it. I've never forgotten it. Okay, gonna have to edit this bit out. See, I told you guys it's gonna get a bit emotional thinking about this, making this video. Okay, so they calmed me down, and I've never forgotten it. And we served up, and we left. And that night, just thinking about it now on reflection, the thing I took away from that experience was that you've got to get used to making yourself uncomfortable in order to, in effect, train yourself for success. Because on reflection, and this happened about 2.5 years ago, I went back to that hotel. Oh, man. I went back to that hotel, but I went back this time as a speaker, okay? And the memories came back, and nobody in that room knew I was having a private moment to myself. And the private moment I was having was the last time I was in this room, I was blagging it. I was trying to serve people and trying to find my way. But this time round, I'm back as a speaker. Okay, that's that. Okay, so job number 5 was that I worked as an assistant to an assistant. So years ago, my mum had somebody who used to be her accountant. So at this stage, she started to do some businesses and she'd started to have a need for an accountant. And I was thinking about my career options. What should I be doing one day in my future? Like, life is challenging. Like, what should I be doing? I'm in my early 20s. Where is my future going? I had no idea. Okay. So my mum said to me, why don't you go along to this guy's house, like deep Kent, like really far away, to his office? He had this small accountancy practice, you know, one of those, like, it's like a sweet shop, but it's actually an accountancy practice. And this guy was literally just him and his assistant. And then my job was to be the assistant to the assistant. But like, I didn't get paid for it. So I'd show up and do basically make the tea, like, you know, read stuff from a bit of paper, just anything they wanted me to do, I'd do it. And what was interesting about that job, bear in mind, at this stage, I hadn't even started training as a chartered accountant. I was doing my degree in economics and accountancy, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, okay? But I started to notice some interesting things whilst I was there, okay? So the first thing I noticed was, I'd look at the invoices and things and notice that lots of people doing things such as plumbing, electricians and builders, people like that, were making a stupid amount of money. Like, you would not believe how much these people were making. You might look at them on the surface and think, oh yeah, plumbers, electricians, yeah, I don't know, they aren't making that much money, but they are making a killing. And I thought, whoa, so these guys running these small businesses actually make quite a lot of money. Second thing I noticed was, and this was interesting, the guy who owned the practice was hardly ever there. So I ended up being the assistant to the assistant, and I'd be there for the time, and then next week I'd show up again for my bit of work experience. Then I got asking her, like, where's this guy always going, right? And she'd say to me, well, he's back home in Africa somewhere, because he's building this big house, he's building that, and he had all these investments. But what was interesting about it, you come and you look at this guy and think, wait, he's got this small accountancy practice. It's just him and his one assistant. You'd think, oh yeah, this is just some small operation. But this guy was raking it in from this one little business, okay? Third thing I noticed was I started to notice how businesses generated income and value and how they started to build up retained earnings to help their businesses grow. So all these elements, really, when I reflect upon it now, the life lesson I took away from this was the seemingly insignificant and the smallest type of businesses can actually generate some seriously high returns, okay? This is why I encourage so many people, where possible, start a business of your own. And this guy, in his one little accountancy practice, was raking it in and building his investments and properties and what have you. And he was doing it with just one assistant helping him as well as me helping as well. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video and it's giving you a bit of a background on kind of where I've come from. I've only just picked 5 jobs, you know, just to give you a bit of a flavor. Got a bit emotional on this one, which it's never happened to me on a video, but I've been running away from making videos about my life journey because it just gets too much just thinking about it. But I really hope that this video has just helped to give you some perspective, okay? That if you see me today, you think this guy, he makes a 6-figure income just from his job, which he can give up if he wants. He has all these ventures, all these investments, all these things. Right, yes, those things are there, but they've come about through a journey, okay? And that's so important to keep in perspective, okay? So if you are currently struggling, you're currently living paycheck to paycheck, you're currently feeling like life is not worth living, or you just don't know where things are going, please remember I made this video to remind you that there is a different future ahead of you, okay? Try and hang around the right people. Try and, you know, keep pushing yourself forward. Try and keep having a different mindset. Try and keep seeking a better outcome. Try and keep staying positive. And honestly, you will not believe the type of life that awaits you if you start to make the right decisions and have the right people around you to motivate you and inspire you to take you on that journey. I hope I'm one of those people, because in many ways I'm creating this video not even knowing who you are, but hoping that you will watch this video and this video will ignite something in your life and help you take that leap and get that amazing life you deserve. Okay, I'm getting too emotional creating this video. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the comment below. Don't forget to hit the like button if it's useful to you. And make sure you subscribe if this is your first time to our channel. I'd really appreciate you also hitting the notifications button, because it just helps get you notified when we create content every Tuesday as well as a Thursday. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you're currently struggling in your job and you're feeling really frustrated, what are your frustrations? I'd love to jump in there and give you some advice, give you some of my personal practical tips to help you move forward. Take care, guys, and I cannot wait to see you again on our next video. Bye-bye.